Now for the ears, you're going to take the same colored yarn as the head, and you're going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. Place your crochet hook right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then you're just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and cinch the loop around your crochet hook. Then you're going to make a chain of 9. So just yarn over, go through the loop for your first chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I have my chain of 9. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here's the first one, and then here's the second chain. So take your crochet hook, go into that second chain from the hook, bring up a loop, and then make a single crochet. Then you're going to make one single crochet in every stitch back across. And then that will give you a stitch count of 8. And the reason why it's a stitch count of 8 is because you went into the second chain from the hook. So now when you finish your last stitch, last single crochet, you're going to have a stitch count of 8. So I have my last stitch, made a single crochet, and this is what my work looks like so far. Then I'm going to chain 1, so you make a chain of 1, turn your work, and then you're going to make a single crochet not into the base stitch of your initial chain 1. You're going to go into the next stitch over. So go into that next stitch over, bring up a loop, and make a single crochet, and that's your second stitch. Go into the next stitch for your third single crochet, and you're going to finish making one single crochet in every stitch across, and you'll have a stitch count of 8 again when you're finished. So when you reach the end, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then repeat. So counting this row as your first, you need to make a total of 6. So you're not counting the work that you've already finished. You're going to count this row, and you're going to continue to make chain 1 and one single crochet in every stitch until you've finished a total of 6 rows. And again, you're not counting the previous rows. Some people get confused when I say that we need 6 more rows because they think, oh, well, we count these. So these you're not going to count. You're going to count this row that you're making now, and you're going to have a stitch count of 8 for each of these 6 rows. So each time you're going to chain 1, turn your work, make one single crochet in every stitch across. So this is my first one. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, go into the next stitch over, and this is my second row of one single crochet in every stitch across. So go ahead, finish 6 total rows like I just said, and then come back. So now this is how your work should look. You should have straight sides, and then we're going to make the slight curve at the bottom of the ear. So when you finish your last single crochet for that last row, you're not going to chain 1, you're just going to turn your work. So just turn your work, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch over for one single crochet, next stitch for 2, next stitch for 3, next stitch for 4, next for 5, next for 6, and next for 7. So by turning the work without a chain 1, we decreased the number of stitches in that row by 1. So now we have a stitch count of 7. So now you're not going to chain 1 again, you're just going to turn your work. You're going to go into the next stitch over for your first single crochet, go into the next stitch for your second, next for your third, next for your fourth, next for your fifth, and next. Then once you have your fifth, you're going to slip stitch into that last stitch. So just yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. Then go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So now you have one ear finished and you just need one more. So go ahead and make another ear the exact same way. Now you just want to bury your loose yarn end. So you just take the loose yarn end, place it onto your tapestry needle. If I can get that in there. And then you're just going to kind of weave it through the work on the wrong side. Then you can take and trim it. Now your ears are ready to sew onto your dog. So now you want to line up your ears, and I lined up my ears so that using the magic circle as a landmark, I counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's also in line with the top of the spot, and it's about 2 stitches away from the spot. Then you're just going to take your tapestry needle with the same colored yarn, make sure you leave a loose yarn end for burying. You can go ahead and tie a knot with the loose yarn end that you have already there. I usually line it up so that the loose yarn end is towards the back of the head on the ear. Then after you tie a knot, you can continue sewing. Make sure you have it lined up straight. I usually follow the curve of the head, and then you just take and go in and out along the top of the ear only and just sew it in place. Then you can take and tie a knot and bury your loose yarn ends. Make sure that your other ear is symmetrical, so they should be even. You don't want them crooked, one lower than the other one. They should look the same or even on both sides. So this is what mine looks like after I sewed the ears in place. And now we're going to make the body, so you can set the head aside. So for the body, we're going to start the exact same way that we did for the head. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with you. But we're going to start with the magic circle again. So we're going to start with the slip knot and then 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you're going to close it the same way. Then you're going to turn your work and you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round. Then we're going to make 5 increase rounds. So remember, the first increase round is 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. and you should have a total of 18 stitches when you're finished. So now you should remember you're going to go ahead and remove the yarn marker, place it right where you left off, and we're going to go in order. So this next increase round would be 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then just move your yarn marker up and you just keep increasing, and remember we're making 1 single crochet all the way up to 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So the next order increase round would be 1 single crochet into 3 and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So go ahead, finish the rest of your increase rounds, and again you're going to stop when you get to 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. The current round that we're on is 1 single crochet into 3 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So this is what my work looks like after finishing the last increase round, which is 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So now you're just going to take and move the yarn marker up, and you're going to make only 1 single crochet in every stitch around until you finished a total of 8 rounds. So 8 rounds of only 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So that means you're maintaining the stitch count. You're not going to keep increasing the number of stitches in the round, and you're not going to be decreasing the number of stitches in the round. So you should have the exact same stitch count every time you get to the yarn marker for 8 rounds, and then come back. So now after you finish your 8 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, we're ready for our decrease rounds, and we're going to close the body. So just take your yarn marker, move it right up to where you left off, and for the first decrease round you're going to make 1 single crochet into 5 stitches, and then you're going to make your decrease stitch. So you're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 for a decrease stitch. Or it's also called single crochet 2 stitches together. Then you're just going to repeat that pattern, 1 single crochet into 5 stitches and then your single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then when you reach the yarn marker, go ahead and move the yarn marker up, and this time you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches, and then you're going to make your single crochet 2 stitches together. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you can place craft stuffing into the body, and you can add more craft stuffing as you close. And then you're going to get ready for your next decrease round, so go ahead and move your yarn marker up. And then for this decrease round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then make your decrease stitch or single crochet 2 stitches together. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then you're going to make your single crochet 2 stitches together. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Then I added a little more craft stuffing to mine, and then I'm going to get ready for my next decrease round, which is 1 single crochet into one stitch, and then single crochet 2 stitches together. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now you can see that you're almost closed. Go ahead and remove the yarn marker. Then you're just going to make single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around until you're almost closed. Then, when you're almost closed, you can skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. Turn your work, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull the yarn through both loops, and then one more should completely close it. Then, once you're finished slip stitching it closed, go ahead and yarn over to finish off, and then just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then you have your body. So before we sew the head onto the body, we just need to bury this loose yarn end. So just grab your tapestry needle and then just put the loose yarn end through the tapestry needle. Keep grabbing the fuzz. Then just go right where you finished off, come out anywhere on the body, and then just give a gentle tug on the loose yarn end, and you can trim the loose yarn end. And now your body is ready to have the head sewn on, and I usually sew the head on top of where I finished off. So here you can see where I sewed the body on this one. I'm going to show you how to sew the body on to the one where I made the eyes. So you're just going to get the same colored yarn onto your tapestry needle, and then you're just going to take and right where you finished off, you want to lay the head, center the head right on top. The 2 magic circles, or actually where you finished off on the head and where you finished off on the body will line up. Then you're going to take your tapestry needle, and I always start in the back, and I usually go right into the body and then come up through the head and out of the head with my tapestry needle, and then just bring some yarn through. Usually I have a longer piece of yarn, but I had some left over, so I'm going to use some of my leftover. And then go back into the head, about a stitch over, go back into the body, and come out about either the same place that you went in or a stitch over from your loose yarn end on the body. And then you can take and tie a knot with the loose yarn end. Then reposition the head again. And then you can resume sewing. So you're going to sew all around the head, and you can go around multiple times. So the first time that you go around is just to secure it. And so now I'm going to go back in through the body and back in, up and in and out through the head. And like I said, you're not going to go stitch by stitch. You're going to come back around probably several times. You might have to add more yarn too. Then, since I came out of the head, I'm going to go a stitch over on the head and go back down through the body and then come out of the body. Reposition the head again. You want to make sure that the head stays centered on the body. Then, since I came out of the body, I'm going to go a stitch over on the body, go through the body and up and out of the head. And that's how I sew the head onto the body. So now I came out of the head, so I'm going to go about a stitch over on the head, go down into the body, and then come out on the body. And that's how I like to sew. That way you can't see the yarn strands. Now I'm out of the body, so I'm going to go stitch over in through the body and up and out through the head. And you're just going to keep repeating that until the head is secure onto the body. And this is what mine looks like after I sewed the head on the body. So now we're going to make the arms and the feet or legs. So we're going to start with the arms. We're going to need 2 of them. And I started with the main color. And we're going to start with the magic circle. So we're going to start with the magic circle, just like you've done before. And I'm using my 6mm crochet hook. I'm going to bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for slip knot. Then I'm going to make my 6 single crochet. Then I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to turn my work, and you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round. So 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round. So now you can take and close the magic circle if you need to. Mine's pretty closed, but I'm going to go ahead and just give a gentle tug on the back. Then get your yarn marker, place it right where you left off, and we're going to make 2 increase rounds. So for the first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. And remember that when you finish this increase round, you just add 6 to the previous round, which was 12 stitches, which means that you should have 18 total stitches in this round when you're finished. So 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch, repeating that pattern all the way around. So then, when you finish that increase round, go ahead and move your yarn marker up. For our last increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. Then just take and move the yarn marker up, and for this next round you're just going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for only 1 round. So 1 round of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Then go ahead and move your yarn marker up, and now you're going to make 5 single crochet 2 stitches together. So you're going to go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 for a single crochet 2 stitches together. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you'll notice how it makes a little outpouching for the front of the hand. Then you could just make 1 single crochet in every stitch back to the yarn marker. So now I have approximately 18 stitches in the round, and you can see I have a nice little outpouching. You're going to take your yarn marker and then move it up, and now you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 7 rounds. So 7 rounds of only 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So that means that you're maintaining your stitch count. So every time you get to the yarn marker, your stitch count should be the same for the next 7 rounds. And then come back. So now you can add craft stuffing after you finish your 7 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, and this is how mine looks. Go ahead and remove the yarn marker, and now you're just going to make single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around until you're almost closed, just like we did for the body. So single crochet 2 stitches together until you're almost closed, and then come back, and then I'll slip stitch the rest closed with you. So I added a little more craft stuffing to mine before I completely close, and so now I'm going to slip stitch it closed. So I'm going to skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. Then you just keep slip stitching until it's completely closed. And then once the arm is completely closed, I'm going to slip stitch again right here. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So now you can go ahead and bury the loose yarn in the same way that you did for the body, and then you need 2 of them. So go ahead and make 2, and then we're going to make the feet. So now we're going to make the foot. So you're going to need 2 of them. So for the foot, you're going to take the main colored yarn and you're going to fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down, and then cinch the loop around your crochet hook. Then we're going to make a chain. So I'm going to only show 4 of them on video tutorial with you, but you need a chain of 8. So you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for 1 chain, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead, finish your chain of 8, and then come back. So now you're going to make a single crochet into the 2nd chain from the hook. So go into the 2nd chain from the hook, bring up a loop, and make a single crochet. And you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch except for the last stitch. In the last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet in the last stitch. And we're going to be working in rounds. So go ahead, finish making 1 single crochet in every stitch except for the last stitch. So now I've reached the last stitch. I'm going to make 3 single crochet into the last stitch, and as I make those single crochet, I'm going to turn my work so that I'm going to work on the opposite side in rounds. So here you can see where we just finished the stitches on the one side. Now we're going to work on the opposite side in rounds. So you're going to go into the next stitch over, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, and finish a single crochet. And you can give a gentle tug on the loose yarn end to kind of bring it through. Then go into the next stitch, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch back across except for the last stitch. So in the last stitch you're going to be making 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So now I buried that loose yarn end pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Then you can go ahead and make 3 single crochet into the same stitch. And then you can make a slip stitch. Actually, we're not going to slip stitch, we're just going to keep working in rounds. So now when you turn your work, you can see that this is the first stitch that we're going to start into. So go ahead and grab your yarn marker to help you keep track of the rounds and place it right where you left off, and then you're going to go into the first stitch in the round and make 1 single crochet. And you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch in the round for 2 rounds. So 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and then come back. So I made it back to my yarn marker after 1 round. I have approximately 16 stitches in my round, and now I'm just going to continue making 1 more round of 1 single crochet in every stitch. And I'm going to turn it inside out as I work. So I'm working around it. So the right side will be this side and the wrong side will be on the inside. So now, after you finish your 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, you're going to take and move your yarn marker up, place it right where you left off, and now you're going to make 1 single crochet into 4 stitches. And then that will bring you to the curve of the front of the foot. So here's the front of the foot, the curve at the front of the foot. And you're going to make 3 single crochet, 2 stitches together around the front of that foot. So go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 for 1, 2, and 3. And that creates a little pooch in the front of the foot. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining stitches. So now I have approximately 13 stitches in the round. Then just take and move your yarn marker up to where you left off. And now you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 10 rounds. So 10 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So now, after you finish your 10 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and remove the stitch marker and then go ahead and place craft stuffing into the foot. Then you're just going to take your crochet hook and you're going to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around until it's almost closed, just like you did with the arms. Oops. You don't want a single crochet, you want to single crochet 2 stitches together. And you can always add more stuffing if you need to, but I kind of placed a little bit extra that I'm going to squish back towards the top. Then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch it closed. Then you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury. So go ahead, finish burying the loose yarn end. And then you're going to need another foot. So go ahead and make sure that you have 2 feet. So now you want to get the same colored yarn onto your tapestry needle. Make sure that you have enough yarn to go through the arms and the body twice. And you're going to take your arms, make sure that you can see where the little paw outpouching is, because that needs to face forward. So you're going to have that facing forward. Then just take one of the arms, and with the paw portion facing forward, you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to go through the top, and you're going to come out on the opposite side, excuse me, at the same level. So the rounds kind of slant down, so you want to make sure that it's straight across with your tapestry needle. Then you can take and pull it through, and then you want to leave a loose yarn end for tying a knot and burying, so make sure you have a good amount of loose yarn end. Then you can take and line up the arm on the body. You want the arm, the top of the arm, to be level with the neck, and you want to have the arm about midline with the ears. That's how I make mine. So once you have your arm lined up, kind of turn it and see where it goes into the body, and then you're going to take your tapestry needle and go into the body. And you're going to come out, I'm about 2 rounds, actually 3 if you count right up here, so 1, 2, 3 rounds down. So you want to come out approximately the same level and also midline with the ears on the opposite side of the body. And then just bring the yarn through, and I usually leave about 1 inch or 2 between the body and the other arm. And then you're going to grab the next arm. Again, make sure you pay attention to the pouch of the paw is facing forward. You're going to go in the side of the top portion of the other arm, come out equally on the opposite side, and then pull it through. And again, I leave about 1 inch or 2 between the body and the arm. And then you're going to go about a stitch over from where you came out, so just about a stitch over. And then you're going to go back through, and you want to be careful that you don't cross the other yarn, because that will make it difficult when you go to cinch the arms to the body. Then you're going to go about a stitch over from where you came out of the body with the yarn, and then go through and come out on the other side of the body without poking yourself, about a stitch over from where you went into the body. And since this yarn is pretty thick, I'm just going to go through 1 time. But sometimes you can go through twice if you want to. But this yarn is pretty thick, so I'm just going to go through 1 time. So what I mean is sometimes I'll go a stitch over and go back through where I'll have 4 yarn strands here. So I'll go through twice. But this one is pretty thick, so I think I can get away with just 1 time going through both. Then you're just going to gently pull the arms to the body. You never want to pull too hard because you're going to snap your yarn. So if you ever feel resistance, then you just take and pull 1 yarn strand at a time. And you're going to cinch the arms to the body until you have the arms against the body how you want them. Make sure that they're lined up the same. And then you're going to tie your knot. So this is how mine looks, and you can see how the arms will go up and down, and they're equal, which is what you want. So once you're happy with how the arms are placed, then you can take and bury the loose yarn ends. So what I do is I just take the loose yarn end. I'm going to go right where I tied my knot, go in towards the wrong side, and then about a stitch over I'll come back through. Then you can take and trim the loose yarn end. So go ahead and trim your loose yarn ends, and then I'll show you where I lined up the feet, but the feet are sewn on the same way. So for the feet, what I usually do is I make sure that the little outpouching is facing forward, and then find out where you want to line it up. So I have my dog sit up, and then I place my foot so that I know where I want it for the dog to be able to sit. And then that's where I know you might want to move it up just a little bit, and then you know that your dog can sit, and you'll have room to go through the body with your tapestry needle. And then you want it in line with the arm. And then you place it on the same way. So you take a good length of yarn, and I'm only going to go through once. Then you go through, make sure that the outpouching's facing forwards, and you go through the top and come out the opposite side and then through the body, just like you did for the arms. This is what my feet look like after I'm finished, and you can see how they move up and down, and the dog's able to sit. So now we're going to make the tail. So for the tail, we're going to start with a magic circle with the main colored yarn. And then you're going to use your 6mm crochet hook. You're going to bring up a loop for your slip knot. And then you're going to make 8 single crochet into the magic circle. So 8 single crochet into the magic circle, and then you're going to close it the same way. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around until you have the size that you want for your tail. So 1 single crochet in every stitch around. And as you make your single crochet, you can pull on that loose yarn end on the center, but the loose yarn end is going to go inside of the tail. So you're going to kind of curve your work as you crochet so that the loose yarn end is going to be towards the inside, and then this portion will be towards the outside. And then you just continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch around. When you get back, I'll show you how long my tail is and how many rounds I made for my tail. So for mine, I made 7 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, and then when you're finished, just make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. Then you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the tail on the back of the dog. And I didn't use any stuffing in mine, I just sewed it on just like this. So then you just take your tail, and I usually, where I finished off, I put towards the bottom of the tail, and you want to make sure that when the dog sits, the tail will be towards the bottom, and you'll be able to still sit your dog. So you want to center it too, so make sure it's centered. You don't want it crooked. And then once you're happy with the placement of the tail, just take your crochet hook, go right through the tail, and come out somewhere at the base of the tail. And then you're going to go back into the base of the tail and come up on the other side with your tapestry needle. And then you go up through the tail and then down through the base. And you just keep doing that, sewing around until the tail is sewn on. Yep, I grabbed my leg. Just all around the base of the tail until the tail is secure and won't come off. So once the tail is secure, then I usually go back and then end towards the bottom of the tail. So you can make a knot. So I go in through the base of the tail, loop it, and I usually do that twice to tie a good knot. Then you can go right where you tied your knot and come up through the center of the tail, and then just trim the loose yarn end, and then you have a cute little tail that will help hold the dog up too. And you have movable arms and legs for your cute little dog.